Hey guys! In this video, I wanted to share 25 different ways to use sticky notes or post-it notes. As a student, I know that having sticky notes on hand is essential, and it can be really useful to have them on hand, especially because you can use them in so many different ways. So here are a couple ways that I use them personally, as well as some ways that my friends have used them throughout our years at school. Number 1. Use it as a place to write down obscure keyboard shortcuts for your laptop or your computer. This is awesome just to have them on hand and you don't have to look them up every single time. In the long run, this will definitely save you a lot of time. Number 2. Create a goal or a priority rotating list, and this can be on either a weekly basis or a monthly basis. I found this principle off of Pinterest, and of course you can use your own as well. I'll link exactly the one I used down below, but this is really useful so you can really just reuse this template every single week or month and just replace your goals with a sticky note. Number 3. For annotating literature, and I've done a whole video on how I annotate books, so definitely check that out if you're interested in how I personally do that. But annotating can be done in so many different ways, and having page flags or sticky notes is really awesome, especially if you're using a library book or a textbook that isn't yours personally. Number 4, use a sticky note to leave a nice surprise or compliment for someone. I actually did this a couple months ago and just wrote a little thank you on this cute little sticky note I have from Knock Knock and just dropped it in my friend's backpack, and he was super surprised. It was just a really nice thought for someone who maybe wasn't having the best day. Number 5, labeling assignments with extra info. Usually if I get a sheet about a new project that I have to start working on, I'll put a sticky note on there, write out all the important information like the due date, my group members, and maybe the next time we're meeting to talk about the project. And just having that information on a colorful sticky note right at the top is so useful to have. Number 6 is something I know almost everyone does, and that is to use sticky notes to write down little reminders and stick them up either in your desk area, around your bathroom mirror, maybe on your front door as you're leaving. Just little things like reminder to pack your lunch or remember to grab something on your way out. And it's just very useful and helps you keep on top of things. Number 7 is something my friend always does, and that is to use the sticky side of a post-it note as a keyboard cleaner. Keyboards of laptops especially can get pretty gross, especially if you use it all the time, and so having that little sticky edge is just a really quick way to clean up all the extra dust and crumbs or dirt that maybe have accumulated on your keyboard. Number 8 is actually really a good idea, and that is to use a square-ish sticky note as a makeshift desk coaster. And so if you're like me and you're constantly sipping either iced water or coffee or something like that, and you have that with you as you're studying, it's really gross to have a little ring on your desk. So having a coaster is really awesome, especially if it's just within an arm's reach. Number 9 is to use sticky notes while studying and create an entire memory game using a flowchart idea. So if you're trying to memorize a scientific process, maybe in cell biology, it's a good idea to write each step on a sticky note, scramble them up and come back to it later and try to reorder them on a flat surface. And that's something I've actually done in my AP biology class that's really useful, and I would definitely recommend it. Number 10, use a sticky note and just put it up on the fridge, and as you think of things you need to get, just add it to a shopping list. Number 11, and this applies if you're making a timeline for maybe a history class or a social studies class, is that you can use little page flags to spice up your timeline, add some dimension, and make certain events stand out. Number 12, if you are in a geography class and you have to have a lot of maps, it's a good idea to sort of use sticky notes in different ways. You can use it as a color key and be able to mark up things with pen in a corresponding color, or you can use page flags or other small sticky notes to mark different places on maps as well. Number 13, use sticky notes in your planning process. If you guys have been watching my Plan With Me videos every month on my channel, then you definitely have seen me use sticky notes in many different ways, sometimes writing a smaller priority sticky to-do list, or maybe just adding a little cute reminder on the side, and having those is just really cool because you're able to separate and categorize out different parts of my bullet journal or planner system. Number 14 is great if you do a lot of book borrowing from the library or renting out DVDs or something like that, where you just use sticky notes to keep track of the due dates for those items so you can avoid all those late fees. Number 15 can be a little bit expensive if you do it often, but I've really only used this method like one time, and that was to create a little flip book as a memory aid with a stack of sticky notes, and this is useful again just as a memory aid and be able to see information in a completely different way. Number 16 is great for cable management. Take out the sticky part of a post-it note and wrap it around a cable to mark it as either yours or as a specific type of cable. And this is really useful just to keep track of all of your things. You can do the same thing with washi tape if you have that on hand as well. Number 17 is to use sticky notes as a place to put small scale to-do lists. Often I will put a large to-do list of everything I have to do for the day in my planner or bullet journal, and if something in particular has a lot of subtasks and things I need to do for it, I will write out a separate list on a sticky note just to break down each task further and make sure I'm being accountable for all areas of a specific task. Number 18 is to use sticky notes as a way to bookmark maybe the glossary or answer key in the back of a textbook, or maybe it's to mark each beginning of a chapter in a book so you're able to flip to them easily, and either way that'll help kind of streamline your textbook reading. Number 19 is not something I've personally done, but it's definitely something that you're able to do if you are bored or it's a rainy day, and that is to look up crafts on Pinterest that involve sticky notes. There are a ton of things like mosaics or little like origami flowers, all sorts of things that really can keep you occupied if you're bored. Number 20 is an obvious one if you have been subscribed to my channel for some time, but that is to use them to decorate your bullet journal and planner, not even just being functional, but just decorating. I have page flags that are like shaped like popsicles and, little like animals and all sorts of things that maybe aren't the most functional, but I definitely like using them in my planning process because they add a lot of color and visual interest. Number 21 is something I will definitely be employing as I move into my dorm this fall, and that is to use sticky notes to color coordinate while packing. I plan to put, like pink sticky notes on all of the boxes that will be for like things in my closet, yellow for, things I need for like my dresser, etc. So just doing that while either moving or packing should be very useful. Number 22 is an old school trick, and that is to use sticky notes as index cards in a flashcard matching game. You can just write like a term on each sticky note and the corresponding definition on another, and then just sort of try to match each one up after you scramble them. It's just another quick way that you can double check your understanding of information. Number 23 is great for textbook or review book reading, and that is to just use different shades of the same color or color family and just prioritize what you need to review first with a darker color and what you need to review less or last would be a lighter color. You can really create your own system around this, but I found that this is really useful if you have a lot to study at once. Number 24 is to use sticky notes to make your notes more visually interesting. You can use it to group some information separately from the rest of your notes. You can use them to help create mind maps, all sorts of things. And this is one that you can really just get really creative with and find what works best for you. Last but not least, we have number 25, which is something that I do all the time, and that is to use a small sticky note or page flag and simply mark an assignment as the most important thing of the night, my number one priority, and I make sure that I get that done before anything else, and that always just really helps me get my study session going. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please let me know in the comments down below and let me know what else you'd like to see on my channel.